Round number 3 of the Skip Barber 2K Oval League sees the drivers head to Illinois, to Madison, to Gateway Motorsports Park. It is a track which has played host to a variety of series over the years. In some cases, some might think that it's always been used as a political pawn, first by Champ Car and IndyCar, lastly by NASCAR. But after being closed for a couple of years, this track is back and it is as beautiful and as perfect as ever. We start round number 3 of the Skip Barber 2K Oval League after these messages. This is RaceSpotTV Prime Time on iRacing Live. Madison, Illinois plays host to the 3rd round of the Skip Barber 2K Oval League. You are looking live at Gateway Motorsports Park, and this 1.25 mile racetrack is one which is steeped in racing history. In some cases, it's controversial, but always this track produces great racing. 17 drivers here today looking to make their mark in the Skip Barber 2K Oval League, and we, as always, will be live every step of the way on RaceSpotTV and, of course, also on iRacing Live. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our coverage. Will Vincent, along with Fraser Williamson, and, well, qualifying is underway right now. The important thing to a session like this, qualify well, Fraser, get yourself to the front of the field.
Yeah, this race is going to be of many different packs. You want to qualify not to be just at front. It will also determine what pack you're in for this first stint before these drivers will have to refuel or once the caution comes out.
Well, let's ride a lap then on board with the driver of Will Fisher. He went for one brief moment to the top of the timing stand. You notice they're not flat out here. especially down in turn number 1 and 2 as well. It's currently Adams from Fisher. Now you see Philippe Burr. He'll head himself to the top of the timing stands. So Burr has got himself now the early pace on lap number 1. We're going to finish off running this lap with Will Fisher. Then we'll go and see how Adams, how Burr, how they are doing. You see there through turn number 3 and 4. They're lifting here on both sections of the racetrack, hugging that curve all the way down at the bottom end of the track as well. Will Fisher, let's see what he can do as he'll cross the start-finish line now, and he will move himself P3 for the time being. Adams to the top of the timing stands now then. Let's see what Philippe Burr can do in that treble 7 machine as he works himself now past the start-finish line. He will get himself P1. Philippe Burr, P number 1 for him. Rob Adams, he's still got himself, no, he's done all of his laps. So now we're just looking at Luigi Gaffini in the number 63 machine, past the start-finish line. He's going to come home in P number 6 by the look of it. So second lap there, very good for him, Fraser.
Yes, and with this Skip Barber car, the tyres don't really heat up because they are your usual road tyres. Until the second lap, you'll see drivers going a couple of tenths of a second faster for this second lap. So that's why, if you mess up this lap, if you go into the wall, that's your qualifying over. That's you down 5 or 10 spots.
Yeah, as you can see there, pretty much now qualifying is done. So we'll give you your full rundown of the grid in about a minute and a half's time here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget though, tomorrow, if you are an open wheel fan, it is all change in terms of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. We're back tomorrow, Sunday. It is a new season, but not only is it a new season, it's a brand new ball game. The Skip Barber 2K World Cup has changed. It has evolved after being on RaceSpotTV now for almost 18 months. We welcome you to another new season. We start a new journey at Lime Rock Park. That will be tomorrow night, but then on alternate weeks, we are going to head ourselves to the Formula Renault 2K World Cup. So that is going to be fantastic to watch. The first round of that championship will be at Phillip Island in just 8 days' time. So you alternate it. It's Skippies every other week, and then you alternate it with Formula Renault, and then on the last Saturday of the month, you add in some good old-fashioned oval racing as well. That is your pick of 2K action this coming season here on RaceSpotTV. As always, streaming live on iRacing Live, a part of RaceSpotTV Primetime. So, as far as we can see, qualifying is for the most part by and done. That means we will have ourselves an opportunity to have a run through your starting grid for tonight's event. And well, Fraser, Burr, yes, he's got pole position, and yes, Rob Adams is right behind him. But P2 to P3, 1/1000th of a second. Logan Clampett, of course, is that driver and many want to beat here.
Yeah, so he is the most renowned oval driver in this field. The rest of the guys in here, all notorious for their road driving skills. They're all some of the best in what they do, and Logan Clampett, he isn't primarily a road driver. He's better at the ovals, and he'll probably have the racecraft advantage and the tactical advantage here today.
17 drivers have made themselves a trip to Gateway Motorsports Park. There you can see the rest of the grid cycling through your screen. At the rear of the field, you have yourself Patrick Post, who did not set himself a qualifying time here today. So, we're in a situation now where we are getting close to go racing here. The guys are gridding. They'll do themselves one pace lap, and then we will be good to go for this round number 3 of the championship. And Fraser, the important thing is, well, get yourself a good start, be in that front pack, and for the first 10-15 laps, make sure that you're not the caution.
Yeah, you just really want to keep it clean here. There's no reason to go out too dangerous, as this is an 80 lap race in these cars. You're going to have an opportunity to pass in every straight pretty much. Why not wait till the last one? Why make it lap 5 or 6?
Let's look at the front of your field then. You can see, we'll zoom in, and they can see slightly different livery actually for that treble 7 machine. Of course, paying homage to the incidents that happened in Belgium just a couple of days ago, which of course claimed the lives of over 30 people at Brussels Airport and also at Brussels Metro Station as well. So Philippe Burr showing his sympathies and his thoughts to the victims of the crisis that happened in Belgium just a couple of days ago. So, we are ready to go racing here. We've got the front row of the grid, the treble 7 machine of Philippe Barber, and then you've got yourself the number 27 machine of Rob Adams. But the guy that you want to pay particular attention to is there on the right-hand side of your shot. It is that number 22 machine of Logan Clampett, as he is going to be the guy that you want to stay ahead of all race long. If you let Clampett get to the race lead, well, this race could pretty much be over before you know it. But these guys now working themselves on their one and only pace lap here. Caution count today, what do you think here, Fraser?
Well, hopefully we'll not see many, but I'm going to take a bet and say 2 or 3.
I was going to say 3, so I'll let you say 2. I'll say 3. There's less you win, if there's more I win. Deal?
Yeah, alright then. We'll go for, I'll say 2 and you'll go 3 then.
Easy. So there we are. Look down at your field as they get themselves ready to go here on RaceSpotTV. It's a part of RaceSpotTV Prime Time, of course. We've got so many fantastic events to keep you company. 6 days a night. 6 days a week even, most of the times, of course. This week, we have 7 fantastic Prime Time events for you. We started off with Monday Night Skippies. We almost end the week here with Skippy action. 2 Skippy races back to back. As here we see Philippe Barber exiting corner number 4. As that pace car comes in, the field is now in the command of Philippe Barber. Let's get this show on the road. Green flag in the air. We are racing here at Gateway. As behind, they're already thinking, are we going to go 2 wide, 3 wide into the first corner? The answer's going to be, they're going to be very close. And of course, this is the danger part of the racetrack. You've got to be careful here in this first corner, because the first time you do it, you're almost flat out. You won't be doing that in a lap's time. Look at this field bunch up. 67 machine of Daniel Roper. Oh, they go 3 wide. Number 1 machine there, Will Fisher. Number 27 machine is going through the field. But Logan Clampett up into second already. They go side by side. Battle for P3, P4 on track right now.
Yes, and it didn't take long for Logan Clampett to make that move. That was into turn 1. And that's what we expect from him, to make moves very early on to try to get the cleaner to run away, as he is looking up the inside of Philippe Barber into turn 1 here.
Yep, so here comes Clampett there, looking for the race lead as they work themselves through turn number 1 and 2 for the second time in this event. We're on board with Philippe Barber. He takes the high line, and caution out for the first time today. And that is going to be Neil Kemp in the number 5 machine, upside down and around. Well, that is not what you wanted to have happen. Replay of that one coming up for you now, Fraser.
Yes, and it looks like he'll be taking my high jump award from New Hampshire away home with him tonight. It looks like he just got lost into turn 1 and 2, overcooking it a little. He had the cars underneath him and all around him, and he had nowhere to go.
Yep, so here we are then. Here's a look at Neil Kemp in that number 5 machine. Let's get ourselves there. Another look to show you what happened to him to bring our first caution of the day out at only lap number 2 of this motor race. As well, you can see there, we'll just slowed it down for you. That was the start. That was the wiggle by that race car. We'll just see that we'll speed it up a little bit. And that car, well, he just loses it completely. And after that, it's time to go breakdancing, so to say. Neil Kemp on pit road. His race is pretty much done. They work themselves then back towards the Irishman.com at first safety car. 2 laps to our first caution. We don't see anyone realistically coming on towards pit road this time here.
Yes, the tyres in this Skip Barber car don't really need to be changed over a course of an 8 lap race. So it's going to be pitting about halfway for fuel. I think that's where we're going to be pitting, as they have a 2.1 gallon cap, which is the same for the 2K World Cup Road, which you'll see tomorrow night.
Let's have a look at your race stats for today. You'll notice the fact that it is an 80 lap event. It's 81 degrees here today. It is pretty humid. Wind speed of 11 kilometers an hour. That is basically crazy, shall we say. 11 kilometer an hour winds here. That means that these guys are actually going to struggle with some crosswinds in this event. Lap 4 of 80. We're working ourselves under caution here. As you'll just see, the Irishman first safety car is out, and it's a beautiful gold, of course, representing the American Childhood Cancer Organization. iRacing doing a fantastic thing as ever, supporting a well-deserving charity through the use of its safety car. So, we've got ourselves one take on towards pit road. That is a number 53 machine of Alexandro and Deladon. We will step aside for just 30 seconds. We'll be back with more after this.
Q-Deck. I'm a engineer at iRacing. I put together vehicle models. Started earlier in the year with a partnership with Mazda and Long Road Racing Engineering, where they supplied us with access to the car data, access to their drivers to allow us to put together really high-level vehicle model, and it's turned out really well so far in the development stages.
These new MX-5s are incredible. Between the BF Goodrich tire and then all the suspension engineering that Long Road Racing and that Mazda has done, I've been very fortunate to be one of the lead development drivers for the new Global MX-5 Cup car. We've done a lot of R&D on not only suspension, but things that will not only improve the safety of the vehicle for racing, but also the longevity of it in a racing environment. A couple fun aspects have been for us, not only on the suspension development side, but the virtual world side with iRacing.
Who needs commercials when you're ready to go green here at Gateway? Logan Clampett then's up 2 positions already in that number 22 machine. He's got himself the 777 of Felipe Burr on the outside of him. We're actually going to ride this restart on board with the number 61 machine of Daniel Roper. Let's listen in, particularly one of the highlights here, how they take this first corner under green flag conditions. Here we are, back to green at Gateway.
And that looks like some bump drafting there in this Skip Barber car.
Indeed so. Let's have a listen in towards turn number 1 then. There you can see they are having to get out of the gas immediately, but it's so difficult on these restarts because your kind of lift-off point is very different to what you do under a normal green flag racing condition. Here comes Will Fisher. He's looking 3 wide as they head themselves down in towards turn number 3. Fisher trying to go all the way to the race lead there. He's going to get himself down alongside Logan Clampett. What a pass! He spins it! He loops it! Big trouble on the racetrack! Oh my word, it's the big one!
That's collected a lot of people, and that's my 2 caution bet looking out the window here in lap 6. This is quite something.
My word. Oh my word. We don't often see that. That was crazy because I think that is I like to call that taking more than you can, eating more than you can, biting off more than you can chew. That's a phrase I was looking for. Catchphrase indeed. Let's have another look then, down in towards turn number 3 and 4, as that took a lot of drivers out. Number 1, Will Fisher, down to the inside. You can see that car just bobbles, and he'll come up into the number 22 machine of Logan Clampett. By that point, he's already lost that race car. Now, Clampett, you can see that, just going to get turned sideways himself. And from here on in, it is literally disaster city. We'll have a look from our aerial coverage. Felipe Burr gets through, but then 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers involved. They're spinning behind them. 6, 7, 8 drivers there involved in that one. That, I think, is the biggest wreck we have seen in the history of this series. In fact, that's one of the biggest wrecks I've seen on an oval outside of Talladega and Daytona in a very long time.
I would like to take your mind back to the Skip Barber 2K Road World Cup when they went to Phoenix. There was an incident there that took out 3/4 of the field, which was a 30-car field, which I remember vividly being in the back of.
Yeah, indeed so. There you can see a number of drivers having to take to the grass through evasive action. Well, this will completely change the dynamic of this event. Let's try and have a look on board with the number 37 machine of Tuan Tran. We're going to ride this one on board with him because, well, you'll notice that he is way back there. He's about 2/3 of the straightaway back, heading into turn 3 and 4. But you'll just see there that incident developing ahead of him. I will say one thing. He does exactly what you need to do. Get off the gas, but don't slam on the brakes. That number 37 machine did a fantastic job there, Fraser.
Yeah, he used his brain. He just got out the gas, looked to see what was happening, and went for the gap when it was available. He saw that there was 3 or 4 cars up the top. He backed out, knew that caution was going to come out, and held his position without putting his race car in any sort of danger. That's how you should be taking these races.
the number 54 machine there of Marco Barber, deciding, you know what, I'd rather go off-roading than be involved in this incident. He did a fantastic job as well. Let's have a look at a couple of these other drivers then. So there's Logan Clampett. There we'll have a look there on board of him. He gets turned around once, then twice, and well, his race is going to pretty much be done. I'm shocked, actually, by how big that one was. But you have to say, Will Fisher, in my opinion, he just took a bit off more than he could chew. Period there.
Yeah, I think if Logan Clampett wasn't on his outside and it was only too wide and Robert was where he was, he'd have been able to save it in the space available, but I think he tried to stuff it into too small a space to what was available to him, and well, that's what can happen when you dive up the inside at decreasing radius oval turn.
Well, we can tell you that a lot of people have been on pit road. Adam Blocker, Rob Adams, Daniel Roper, Logan Clampett, Alexander Deladone, Marco Barber, Patrick Pose, Mike Thompson, Will Fisher have all been on pit road. Some of them have been able to get some repairs done to their race car. It looks as though they will be good to go for the restart here. But Philippe Leber once again leads this motor race. We should be getting the 1 to go sign this time by. We're on board of Philippe Leber. There's another look there at your weather. 11-degree wind here. It's a crosswind. It's 81 degrees air temperature. 92 degrees track temperature here today. Pick your teeth in, please, Will Vincent. That would be very nice. Thank you.
Yes, and that is us 1 to go as the pace car's lights are out. We'll hopefully have a good on green flag run after this.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get social with us, oh, you can do so. Visit us /RaceSpotTV on Facebook, on Twitter at RaceSpotTV. You may well have seen me doing a bit of a John Cena impression earlier on. If you haven't seen it, I wouldn't call it good, Fraser. I'd call it mediocre at best.
I'd call it absolutely great entertainment for all those who can watch it.
As you can see there, Philippe Leber going to bring the field back to green flag racing after, well, basically 1/8 of this race scored complete. 2 cautions here today. Let's see whether or not we're going to get ourselves a good green flag run. And of course, in situations like this, that is often what people look for. They want to get themselves a nice, good green flag run. Here then comes the pace car on towards pit road. Here comes the field. Green flag in the air one more time. We go back to racing at Gateway as they'll work themselves down in towards turn number 1 again. Let's see. Are we going to get ourselves a good couple of laps under green? Is anyone going to try and be greedy once again? Number 37 machine of Tran down the inside line. They were going too wide there. A couple of people wiggling once again. The number 16 machine of Chris Malcolm was very sideways there. Oh, we're going to try and turn around. 2 cars there at the rear of the field. Alexandro Daladon is one of these drivers, but we do stay green for the moment.
Yes, and there's another move up the front of your field here. It's looking like it's for 2nd place, and yes, that's a 63 car completing a passer in turns 2 and 4.
Public Fairhair, though, will have a good run out of the corner. He's now going to try and look back down to the inside of that number 63 machine of Luigi Graffini as they work themselves back down in towards turn number 1 again. You notice just how big the draft is, though, at this track. You could see how good it was in towards turn number 1. That number 63 machine sucking up to the rear as just the hair behind them. You've got the number 61 machine, Daniel Roper, going side by side. Then he's almost getting a push there from Logan Clampett. Clampett now down to the inside of that number 61 machine. Clampett back up in this race, and well, Clampett is just diving through this field right now. 3 wide once again in towards 3 and 4.
Yes, and that's Rob Adams coming into pit road after that spin in that first lap after this restart.
Here's Daniel Roper. He's 3 wide. He's threading the needle. He's not got a lane, though, in towards turn number 1. 4 wide they go into the corner. They were almost 5 wide for a moment. How did they just survive that one? I don't know, but they stayed 3 wide through the centre of turn number 1 and 2. These guys haven't got the memo about taking it easy on this restart.
No, and Logan Clampett backed out, using his brain that he's probably managed to find doing NASCAR, understanding that 4 wide into Gateway, turns 1 and 2, just will not work. It's physically not possible for anything to go 4 wide, except from some humans walking
Yeah, indeed so. And even that one might take some difficulty at times. Here comes Daniel Roper looking for the race lead right now. Number 63 machine of Jaffini right behind as they work themselves in towards 1 and 2. Once again, Roper has got himself the inside line. Can he hold it down there? That is going to be the question. He's going to get on the power early. That'll put him side by side with Philippe Labeur as they head themselves off the corner. But Roper doesn't look as though he's got the drive right now. He's going to have to dive it in towards turn number 3. He's not going to be fully alongside, but he's going to pull back alongside. And now we'll have the inside line in towards turn number 3.
And that's our spin.
We've got ourselves our third caution potentially of the day. Yeah, the track is blocked. Caution number 3 of the day.
Well, that was all caused from Luigi Graffini going too hard when it was on the outside turn. 3 wide on the outside. Going into turn 1 there, he pushed up too high, went in the wall and got himself some right side suspension damage. He went into 3 and 4, got himself loose and spun it out in front of traffic, so he'll be going hopefully back into pit lane, fixing up that suspension damage and coming back out.
Yeah, you can see there the number 63 machine was involved in that. Adam Blocker, unfortunately, turned around, not of his own doing at all there. Get ourselves another look. This one, we're going to ride on board with that number 63 machine of Luigi Graffini. This is down in towards 3 and 4. Let's listen in. He was just too hard into the corner there. That number 18 machine of Elliott Smith, nothing he could have done. I want to try and take us back, if we can, if our camera will allow us, a couple of minutes in this event. We want to try and show you that moment they went 3 wide in towards turn number 1 and 2, because that one was something crazy and magical to behold. And well, Fraser, there's 3 cautions now so far today. What we have seen is some good racing, but this track, because of the fact there's different bankings in turn number 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4, turn 1 and 2 is so much tighter than turn 3 and 4. It just means that these packs concertinating together. As Labeur's on pit road, by the way. Labeur is on pit road. In fact, a lot of your field are on pit road right now. So we're just going to show you, there is another look at what we were talking about here. Threading the needle in towards turn number 1 and 2. And there is the moment we saw them go 4 wide and somehow just survive in towards turn number 1. We'll get ourselves one more look at that one for you, because that was truly and utterly crazy to see. You literally couldn't put a piece of paper between some of those drivers, Fraser. They went 4 wide, and they were only on half of the racetrack there. That number 61 car, that is a definition of threading the needle. I do believe we've just lost Fraser Williamson there for a moment, but there's another look down in towards turn number 1 and 2. Crazy, riveting, exciting stuff there. That one didn't cause a caution. But then we've just had ourselves a couple of people on towards pit road. Philippe Labeur has made himself a stop. Alexander Dalladone has made a stop. Will Fisher, Elliott Smith, and Marco Babronera. Philippe Labeur pitching a lap number 17 of 18. It's a bit early to do so. And now, of course, he's well down in your pack here, Fraser.
Yes, and well, he might have fuel numbers that says that he can go 60, 70 laps on a tank of fuel. And he's thought, if I pit now, I don't need to pit again. I can stay out and overtake everyone when they have to come in it halfway through the race, when is your standard time for pitting in a NASCAR race.
But you've now got to survive the next restart.
Yeah, and probably the subsequent restarts and the way this one's going.
Well, we're on board with Daniel Roper. Let's have a look from behind. There's a look out front to the iRacing First safety car. As we're going to step aside for 60 seconds. Back and more after this. Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV, RaceSpotTV Prime Time, as we are going to go back to green flag racing. 3 cautions in the book, and we're only 1/4 of the race through. Let's have a look then on this restart. From the rear of your new race leader, it is Daniel Roper, as we're going to head ourselves back to green flag racing. Let's listen in to the restart. They're still jostling for position around him as they come in towards turn number 1 and 2 once again. Elliott Smith, Will Fisher, they're going 3 wide once again on the exit of turn number 2. You had yourself one of these cars going very, very sideways as Will Fisher again going to look down 3 wide, almost 4 wide in towards turn number 3 and 4. The treble 7 machine, Felipe Burr, coming down towards pit road, a penalty potentially for Felipe Burr.
Yes, and I'm going to check what penalty that is. It might be a speeding. That could be that.
Of course, as we've got side by side here for the race lead, it's Daniel Roper versus Sablex Fair. The reason I say passing under yellow is because he took that one on the restart. Now, you wouldn't normally get an end of line penalty for getting yourself under caution, a speeding penalty. So I'm thinking he must have passed someone under yellow, or he must have done an unsafe pit entry.
Yes, I'm just going back to check this one now. His entry's all clean, and he's going at what seems to be pace speed.
Must well be then, passing under the yellow flag, and it's so easy to do at tracks like this. We got 2 wide, 2 deep. Oh, trouble on the racetrack once again, and that is going to be Logan Clumpett, turned around on the front straight away, 4th caution of the day.
And yes, this is amazing how they can cause so many cautions in such a short space of time, it seems. We've had about 2 laps of green and they're already going at it this hard.
Well, let's get ourselves another look at this one then from up above. This is Logan Clampett, and you'll see there he makes contact with the number 16 machine of Chris Malcolm. Malcolm then touches the wall in a straight line. He mustn't have been paying attention there, but all of a sudden he ends up turning sideways into Logan Clampett, and here's a look then on board with Chris Malcolm in the number 16 machine. He just drifts up into the wall and then turns hard left into Clampett.
Yeah, it looks like you got bored of oval racing, turned left when you're on a straightaway, which is not when you're meant to turn left in an oval race. You're meant to turn left in the corners.
Except for Oxford Plains.
That's just turning left. That's a circle, that's not an oval. There's a difference.
Wow. Under caution, 4th time here today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with more after this. Tomorrow night, the drivers of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup return for a new season. And oh yeah, it's a completely new format. They will start off at Lime Rock Park, but they run every 2 weeks. In between, we have ourselves Formula Renault 2K World Cup, and both of those series will be here live on RaceSpotTV, streaming live also on iRacing Live. So welcome back then to Gateway. 4 cautions in 20 or so laps. Turan now leads this motor race. I often see situations like this. I've commentated on so many oval races, Fraser, that it's easy to understand the forms of these races. We are going to end up with a 50-60 lap green flag run if we're not careful.
Well, if these cars keep on taking themselves the way that they are, by the law of averages, we've got to go green for 10, 15, maybe, we hope 50 more laps, which will take us to the end almost now. And we will have a cracking race, but cautions every couple of minutes, it's not what the people are wanting to see.
Well, in the meantime, tomorrow night, we go ourselves, as I say, to Lime Rock Park for a new season. Before we go green, Fraser, Skippies or Formula Renaults, which one do you think will be the most exciting Sunday night series that we'll have?
The Skip Barber carts were more draft, more too wide action, just closer lap times with more draft, with more cars wide.
We are. Grace Williamson telling it like it is, as of course we'll bring you the first round of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup tomorrow night. It's a part of RaceSpotTV Primetime. We're running aboard then with Will Fisher in that number 1 car. Here's an idea. Just let him go and lead, because he'll try and do anything he possibly can to go for it. Give you an update on Philippe Labour. He is, by the way, back on the lead lap as it seems. So, here comes the pace car on towards pit road once again. Left-hand side of your screen. Movers and shakers in the race so far. We go back to green flag racing. Turan then leads laps here as they come down in towards turn number 1. And we talked about Will Fisher going for the race lead. He immediately there looks hungry in towards turn number 1. We're on board with him. He's taken 1 driver away already. That is going to be, oh my word, they're 4 wide behind him as they head themselves out of turn number 2. Number 61 machine, number 53 machine, Ropier and Danadone there, scrapping out for position, but Will Fisher going to go to the inside, to the race lead, into turn number 3. Number 61 car, Roper though, is going to pin him all the way down to the inside, and oh my word, these guys still haven't got the memo.
Yes, and this is just absolute madness. Will Fisher's just, no, he hasn't had the lead, actually got beaten to the line there. He still hasn't led that precious lap yet.
You know how much that was by?
A nose width.
2 1,000ths of a second that last time by. On board once again with Will Fisher. They're a little bit calmer behind him. There's scrapping going on all over the place. Will Fisher back down to the inside once again as they work themselves in towards turn number 3 and 4. He will hold, he will dive to the inside. We know that car doesn't work very well on that innermost line. This will give Roper the chance to get himself a better run off the corner. As we'll see, once again, to the line, Roper will lead the lap. That is something that is worth thinking about as we get ourselves further and further into this event. They're 3 wide behind him, in towards turn number 1 and 2, but they'll survive it. They'll work themselves. Patrick Post right now going to go side by side with Mike Thornton, and then Mike Thompson even, and also Jan Hoffman, Alexander Danadone, they're side by side. Will Fisher, Turan, they're side by side, as Turan looking back to the race lead there, in towards turn number 3 and 4. Can Turan hold it on the inside? The answer to that one is no, he can't at all, because, well, Roper is so much better on that outside line, but the thing is with Turan, he gets himself a much better run off the corner. This could work to his advantage. Coming to the line, strategy calls in play, and Turan loses that lap by 16 1,000ths of a second.
Oh yeah, this is just back and forth. It's like watching 2 dogs play with 1 ball. It's just who can get there first.
Out of corner number 2, once again, 37-61 machine, side by side. Turan now on the outside. Daniel Roper on the inside. Can Roper's car working on the inside line? Will Fisher step it in? No. Not just yet. Although now, here comes Daniel Roper diving to the inside. Turan loses the advantage. They're 3 wide. Through corner number 3 and 4. You get yourself there. Will Fisher. Then you got yourself Daladone. And then Turan on the outside. This is absolutely crazy right now. We're back on board with Turan as well. Daladone up into second place. Daladone to the inside. Daladone looking for the race lead. Not going to need to get there just yet, but he gets a much better run off the corner, pushing high. And Daladone almost there, taking out Daniel Roper. And now he'll tuck in behind once again.
Yes, it looks like Daniel Roper's just figured out how to take these corners deeper into turns 3 and 4. So he can hold that high line round the outside there.
He tell you what, he didn't learn how to do it that time. He got his nose chopped off a bit of air, and all of a sudden he lost all forms of momentum. There's a look then from the rear, Daniel Roper. They're going to go 3 wide behind him as we complete their lap number 30 of 80 here. This has not calmed down at all. Look at this. All of a sudden Philippe Leber's back into P number 4.
Well, yes, LS scrapping up the front, so allowing everyone to bunch up. The top 9, top 10 split by 1.2 seconds. This is just going to be absolutely crazy. If there's a accident or even a little check up at the front, it's just going to concertina back down, and it's just going to cause something major again.
Number 48 machine there of Jan Hoffman getting himself a big wiggle through turn 3 and 4. They're 3 wide behind him. We're on board from the rear then of Jan Hoffman. There you can see hunting, stalking number 777 machine of Philippe Leber. He's going to think about going down to the inside in towards turn number 1. They're 3 wide behind him as well. That's the number 7 machine of Sabek Fair on the inside line. On the outside, Turan has lost himself all forms of position, but Alexandre Daladon down to the inside potentially. Oh yes, he will. In towards turn number 3 and 4. Will he get himself a momentum as they come down into that corner? You've got yourself Will Fisher. It's just playing it a bit calmer than what he did at the start of this race. No 4 wide crazy action for the time being. Daladone cannot hold that inside line and get himself a good run. I'd take that back. He's got himself a better run there off of 3 and 4, but still not enough to close down to the driver of Daniel Roper, who leads this motor race. And all of a sudden Fisher is starting to think, maybe I should just try and haunt these cars on the outside.
Well, Will Fisher's, I think there he was trying to take the preferred line, high, low, high, and get the run on both of them down this straight, as they're both compromising each other's lines through these turns as they are 3 wide behind them.
Yeah, here comes Philippe Leber then down to the inside once again in the 777 machine. Will he be able to get himself a move there in that TNT racing car? Side by side, Fisher to the inside of Roper for the race lead. We're on board with Philippe Leber. Philippe Leber, what a draft is this? He will now go 3 wide for the race lead in towards turn number 1. Philippe Leber sweeps himself down to the inside. He won't get the race lead, but he'll move himself up into P2.
Yes, and this is an absolutely crazy drive from Philippe Leber. In about 10 laps he's passed through most of the field here, and now all he's got is Daniel Roper between him and the lead of this race as he's going on his inside for turns 3 and 4.
Down to the inside then, here comes Philippe Leber. He's got himself a good run. He's already clear. He can brush up through the centre of the corner. Philippe Leber, from being dead last for a moment, now leads this motor race once again. 34 of 80 laps scored complete, but here comes Roper. Roper's going to say, not just yet, my friend. He will go down to the inside in towards turn number 1 and 2. There's the first crossover we've seen today.
Yeah, the crossover's going to be something major here, but Philippe Leber's drive there is a lot like Juan Pablo Montoya's drive at last year's Indy 500. From being up there at the start to going last under caution to back winning by the end.
Yeah, I just saw Will Fisher almost tagging the wall there. Leber dives down to the inside once again. That car is the only one that I've seen that works well on that inside line, but Roper will still get himself a good run. He crosses perfectly on the exit of the corner at the line. The lap is going to go to Daniel Roper by 27 1/1000ths of a second. Roper down to the inside once again, but behind, they're green. They're still running green, but Daladone now, we're on board of him in at that number 53 machine. He's been up as high, he's going for the race lead. He's been down as low as about P number 10. Alexandre Daladone right now is driving fantastically in that number 53 car.
Yes, and these drivers, well, they're almost halfway to the finish, but this is still a long race. Eventually they've got to cab it down, try to reach the end of this race, because the way they're going, a mistake's going to happen at some point from one of them.
Let's look now for my aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design. Jan Hoffman then, the new fastest lap of the race, 109.69 miles an hour. A little bit sideways there. That's going to give Barber the advantage on the outside. That's also going to give Will Fisher the chance to look down to the inside. Fisher decides to wait for a moment. Barber will have the outside line in towards turn number 3 and 4. That was sideways by the number 61 car of Daniel Roper. They'll come down in towards turn number 3 and 4 again. Roper's car and Barber's car work well on that inside line, but look at the momentum that Philippe Barber will get off of the corner as they head themselves towards the start-finish line. Barber will lead that lap by almost a full car length as they come down in towards turn number 1 again. Look at Daladone thinking about going down to the inside.
Yes, this is just crazy, and I also think that the car lead that Philippe Barber has had, that's been the biggest that we've had in, well, since that caution. As well, Fisher looking to the outside here, turns 2 and 4, he hasn't made anything stick out there.
I think Will Fisher's actually going to get himself a clean run towards the front of this field because of the fact that he just had so much momentum there, but he ends up falling behind. That draft stopped working for him. As Philippe Barber almost makes contact, Barber's going to go down to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. Lap number 38 of 80 scored complete here. Will Fisher with the outside line. Will he go to the point in towards turn number 1? No, he won't. Roper, that car just works fantastically into the corners as Dan Roper will once again lead this motor race. But here comes Will Fisher. What will Will Fisher do there as Philippe Barber's on the right hand side of your picture and you've got yourself Will Fisher to the left in towards turn 3 and 4 they come once again. Here comes a dive from Philippe Barber as they will all stay in line for the time. You see, this is Skippy racing on an oval at its best. We've had it a bit sluggish at the start, but all of a sudden this race has come alive here.
Yes, once these drivers have figured out exactly what they're doing with their car placement, this has just became as good as most of the road racing.
Alexander Daladone sideways through turn number 1 and 2. He will hold it as he almost makes contact with Philippe Barber on the exit of turn number 2. They survive once again.
Well, this is allowing Daniel Roper to get away from these drivers with them going too wide, diving down at each other. They're not taking the optimal line through here, they're not carrying as much speed, which means he himself and Philippe Barber will just start to slowly pull away. Unless they start battling against each other, that cancels that out.
This is fantastic racing. This is absolutely fantastic racing. Jan Hoffman, by the way, has the fastest lap of the event so far in that number 48 we've seen. But the situation is now, you're into that dirty air. You have to pick a line, go high, go low. You can't just swerve that car right across the racetrack because there's normally someone blocking your path. As we're on board right now with Hoffman is for the race lead. Daniel Roper, Philippe Barber once again 3 wide, and Daladone will stay on the outside for the time being. But Jan Hoffman, if he can get some clean air, he could well be one of these drivers to win this motor race. He has to be careful though because these guys are ahead of him. If one of them wrecks, he will likely be caught up in the incident.
Yes, but I think Jan Hoffman's pace is coming from the amount of draft that he's getting. He's getting 3, 4, 5, 6 cars worth of draft in these laps.
He is your biggest mover inside of your top 6. Post is your biggest mover inside of your top 10 right now. It continues here to change and flick around as they go 3 wide for turn number 3 and 4 for P number 2, 3 and 4. They can see Fisher, they can see Barber, they can see Daladone as they'll head themselves down into that third corner once again. Some fantastic there looks at some of these drivers who have a look now from the rear of Alexander Daladone on the exit of turn number 3 and 4. Tyre wear isn't an issue, marble wear can well be.
Well, if they're running off laps here to get some marbles to start become a thing because these tyres don't wear the rubber off, so I'm not sure that that will actually happen just because of the nature of the tyres.
These tyres are rock solid. In fact, there you can see Will Fisher thinking, where can I go? I want to get myself a run here. Alexandro Daladone to the race lead then in towards turn number 3 and 4. Looks like he got himself a nice clean run on Roper into the corner. Not sure if he can hold it though. On the exit, side by side, battle for the race lead. On the exit of the corner, you know what I see just ahead there? Lap cars, Razor.
Yes, and this should make something interesting if it's an issue at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. and it might become an issue again.
Felipe Burr going to dive it in deep there. This is a battle still for your race lead. There are battles going on behind. Here you can see Neil Kemp, Luigi Gaffini, Elliott Smith. They are scrapping out for position. Duran must have hit the wall at some point because, well, he's well down in the field right now.
Yes, I think he was just caught up with damage that couldn't be repaired, and that's his 6-to-1 car pitting. He forgot to take fuel under caution, and he's pitting it halfway.
So here is the number 69 car then coming on towards pit road. It's just behind him. Here they go once again. There's a 61 car over Daniel Roper. Oh, we got a car sideways on pit road. That is the number 13 machine of Adam Blocker. That almost completely blocked pit road. Let's get ourselves a second look at that one. On board of him as he comes on towards pit road. That's almost Homestead-ish. He took, oh my word, how close was he to hitting Daniel Roper?
I'd like to say that one was complete skill there from Adam Blocker, just to show off a little, get some smoke in that pit lane going. But yeah, he held that one perfectly, and he did cause some of the cars up the rear of that field to have to check up. That will hurt them a lot under green flag pit stops.
Ryan Adams, Adam Blocker, Patrick Pose, Mike Thompson, all on pit road, and of course Daniel Roper is coming out of the pits himself right now. So we've been green for a period of time. 20 laps now we've been green in this motor race, and some people were expecting another caution. They didn't get it, they pitted under green, but the important thing is they're still on the lead lap as it stands. Fisher is leading this race. You got yourself lap traffic coming into play here. Fisher versus Labour versus Danadone. Some lap guys coming into play as well, and these lap cars are going to be pivotal for deciding who will win this motor race, because traffic can be hard to pass here. We're on board with the driver of Jan Hoffman, number 48 machine, in towards turn 1 they come once again.
Yes, and those cars that you thought were still in the lead lap, they aren't. Adam Blocker's mistakes cost him to go down a lap. If there is not another caution, he'll stay a lap down and will be not in the battle for your lead, which where he was at the start of this event.
It's like Richmond 2009. People are banking on the caution. People more banking on the caution. Here's Will Fisher. He's on towards pit road then. 47 of 80 scored complete. He now dives onto the lane.
Yes, I think Felipe Barber made the smart move with taking fuel under caution, which will allow him to go a bit further in this event and maybe all the way to the finish.
Well,
if it's...
Sorry.
No, it's alright, on you go.
So Will Fisher's on towards pit road. 45 miles an hour is the speed limit on towards pit road. My PC just waited.
Tell me when we're back.
Yeah, one commercial.
Alright.
I'm Eric Hudek. I'm a engineer at iRacing. I put together vehicle models. Started earlier in the year with a partnership with Mazda and Long Road Racing Engineering, where they supplied us with access to the car data, access to their drivers to allow us to put together really high-level vehicle model, and it's turned out really well so far in the development stages.
These new MX-5s are incredible. Between the BF Goodrich tire and then all the suspension engineering that Long Road Racing and that Mazda has done, I've been very fortunate to be one of the lead development drivers for the new Global MX-5 Cup car. We've done a lot of R&D on not only suspension, but things that will not only improve the safety of the vehicle for racing, but also the longevity of it in a racing environment. A couple fun aspects have been for us, not only on the suspension development side, but the virtual world side with iRacing, actually mirroring some of the same, for instance, damper settings or brake pad changes that we've made for different compounds and such, and then we'll actually mirror that in iRacing. It's incredible to me how similar both when we're driving the car on the test day and then we're on the sim, that we're actually able to make changes in iRacing to the damper valving, and it correlates exactly to our findings on the racetrack.
It was quite interesting. It was sort of the first time in iRacing where we developed a car in the sim along with the manufacturer and a race team. Generally speaking, a team or a manufacturer will send us a data dump of information covering everything from tires to aero if the car is set up that way, all the mechanical bits. The big difference is those cars are generally already in production or already racing, and this go around it was essentially from scratch. When Long Road Racing received their cars, we started getting our first bits of data, and as they got more data, we got more data, and we were able to go back and forth in the sim and compare with how the car performs on the racetrack.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. We do apologise for that brief intermission. Essentially what happened is one of our hamsters went on strike. We didn't feed it the right quality of grain, but we're back now. Hopefully the new hamster will do its job properly. We're on board with Neil Kemp. He leads the motor race here, and by a substantial margin actually. He hasn't yet pitted, we don't think, but Marco Barber is on towards pit road. Green flag pit stops. I don't think people were expecting this one here.
No, in the previous races we did not have green flag pit stops. This is something new to these drivers and something else that they'll have to figure out as they go. As I say that, Neil Kemp is onto pit road.
So then, Patrick Post out and away in 9.8 seconds. Daniel Roper is going to be P2 in this race. Luigi Graffinini is on pit road right now as we talk about. Marco Barbanera out and away in 21.2 seconds. Why are you taking tyres, buddy? You just ruined your chance of winning this motor race. Luigi Gaffini then is going to come out and away in 16.5 seconds. Neil Kemp now, he's onto the lane for what will be, well, essentially 21 laps worth of fuel. Here he comes then. Pit stop timer on for him as we get back to green flag racing. We continue green flag racing here, of course, at Gateway. We've now been green for almost 40 laps in this race. Do you think that was going to happen, Fraser?
Honestly, I didn't, and I'm kind of glad it happened.
You know, that sounds like most of my romantic experiences.
What, you wish it never happened? You wish it happened? I'm confused what I even said 5 minutes ago.
I'm surprised
so.
it did happen, but I'm glad it did.
Alright, yeah, that sounds quite well.
Except for my crazy ex-girlfriend, but we won't talk about her. So Daniel Roper still leads this race now. He's got himself 22 laps led here today. And this actually is a net lead here of 5.2 seconds. So this race has just gotten boring now.
Yeah, it's went from all guns blazing 3 wide, 4 wide. Sad we didn't quite see 5 wide here. to a 5-second lead, and well, it's very miserable. The only battles it's looking like now is Verheeren, Hoffman, and your top 5. Well, your top 10 even.
We're on board actually from the rear of Alex Verheeren. Here comes Dan Hoffman, and then battle for position as they work themselves through turn number 2 down towards turn 3 again. I'll tell you what, I'd love to have a go on that go-kart track.
That go-kart track does look quite fun. I'll have a look at it later, actually.
As you've got also Turan versus Elliott Smith. This is a battle for P number 5 and P number 6 on track right now. As they're going to be side by side. Oh, we got a car. Very slowly. Is that Philippe Labour? It is Philippe Labour. No, it's not Philippe Labour, but it's a guy going very, very slowly. I'm not quite sure who that was, but he was literally crawling down the front straightaway there.
That looks like Patrick Post, and it looks like he had ran out of fuel here in lap 60. Lap 59 even.
Let's have a listen. We're on board with him. He's coming on towards pit road. But yeah, Patrick Post. Well, he was just on pit road. So evidently, they just didn't get any fuel into that car.
Yeah, that looks like just a error with his end. I've got no idea what the issue was there actually.
Well, let's have a look. He's on towards pit road again there in that number 28 gathering of tweakers machine. That is not what he would have wanted to have happened to this race. They call it serious racing with a smile, but he would not have a smile in this race. He's going to have more of a grimace right now in that Bennett locked machine. As right towards the front of your field, here's Elliott Smith. Here is Turan side by side for P number 5 as they will head themselves now through turn number 3 again. They have got Neil Kemp, by the way, right behind them.
Yes, and I'm currently having a look to see why Patrick Post is back in pit lane. It might be an unsafe pit exit. Yes, it is. He went over the yellow line on the exit there.
To quote the people from Family Guy, oh no! As we're on board right now with Turan in the number 37 machine as he works himself now through turn number 2 side by side. There's the number 18 machine of Elliott Smith. Well, actually, Turan got kind of bulked there on the exit of 3 and 4 down the front straight away by the driver of Neil Kemp. And well, if you come across another driver, it's easy. You've got 2 options, either run into the rear of him or lift off the gas. But lifting off the gas on a straight line here, it will cost you so much momentum.
Yes, and well, something that we haven't noticed is Will Fisher's gaining hand over fist over Daniel Roper. This could give us a battle for a lead again, as he's just taken half a second chunk out of Daniel Roper's 4-second lead.
That is absolutely crazy. I will have to say that. I have no idea how you can take half a second a lap on an oval of all things. I mean, that's the sort of thing you see in NASCAR if someone's on worn tyres compared to new. You don't see that in a Skip Barber race when the tyres are basically designed to last 1,000 years.
Yeah, I've got personally no idea how or what happened, but Will Fisher's closing in incredibly fast, or I can't do maths.
Yeah, you can't do maths as well. Or maybe do you think Roper's maybe a little bit short of fuel?
But he pitted later than Will Fisher. That's the thing.
He didn't put enough fuel in. I mean, so often drivers do that. There's 32.0 last time by for Roper, 31.6 last time by for Will Fisher. Keep an eye on those gaps as they head themselves down towards the start-finish line once again. As well, we'll get an eye on the lap times. And lap time by, Roper did pick up the pace just a little bit.
But then so did Will Fisher.
Oh, someone's on towards pit road. Someone's on towards pit road. And is that, yeah. We just seen him on towards pit road.
No, I didn't. I was going.
No, Roper's disappeared. Mechanical issues there for Daniel Roper, number 61 machine. He looks like he may well be out of the race.
That's looking. Yes, that's very bad connection issues. Mechanical, yeah.
For Daniel Roper.
Witness down there. He's disappeared in what could have been one of the great race battles when they come back. So Will Fisher to put that into his encyclopedia of comebacks.
I'll tell you one thing, he's led 29 laps here today. He's led more laps than anyone else in this event. To have it go away so late into this event, especially as we're going to get ourselves a fantastic battle between these two as well. We have got Elliott Smith versus Neil Kemp. They still battle on towards the end of this event. We're right on board once again with Elliott Smith then as the Club Asia driver goes side by side and will pass Neil Kemp just for a moment. And Tran is right there still in the picture as well. We're down to 15 to go here at Gateway. And well, these guys show no signs of letting up.
I am going to say something that might not make sense to oval drivers, but if Feher, Hoffman, Smith, Kemp and Tran could all work together, could get the draft going, they could eat up that gap to Will Fisher here, albeit it's 10 laps to go, so maybe it would be down to Feher and Hoffman start slingshotting past each other. It's only 1.4 second gap, that's easily achievable with the draft.
Jan Hoffman and Zabalek Verheer are separated by just 1/10 of a second, and it's interesting to know they're not catching Will Fisher, but they're still in the same ballpark as it stands. Maybe Hoffman and Verheer can work themselves together to potentially get back to the race lead. Hoffman down, no, he will stay in line for the time being, and last time by, they were 1/10.5 faster than Will Fisher out front.
Well, if they keep on going at this kind of gap, if they're 1/10.5 faster, this is going to come down to last lap. Who can dive into turn soon for the deeper without coming up into the other driver.
As behind, here's Elliott Smith, here's Tran, here's Neil Kemp. Kemp looking down to the inside, will he get himself a 2-for-1 special? We only see this at Golden Corral normally, but nope, almost there, running into the side of the driver of Elliott Smith. And well, you've got to anticipate what other drivers are doing. So on board then with Tran once again in that number 37 car, you have got to anticipate what driver's going to do. Go high, go low, free wide towards turn number 1. That time by Tran diving it down to the inside, and he will get 2 positions, and that was a fantastic move.
And well, Tran's just popped up. Oh, and that's contact there between him and Elliott Smith, but that cost the pack time over Will Fisher, although they are gaining on him hand over fist, and I'm going to use that many times in this broadcast.
This is a race, it ain't a podcast.
I said broadcast.
There we are. As you can see, that Tran with the number 18 machine once again. And hey, we talked about it a moment ago. It's happened. Will Fisher has been caught by Zabalek Verheer. Verheer looking down to the inside, in towards turn number 1. And Zabalek Verheer to the race lead.
Yes, and this is what we were hoping for. We've got 10 laps to go. We've got 4 cars in this lead pack. Hopefully some fireworks will start to happen.
Well, here we can see that Zabalek Verheer now leads this motorway. Jan Hoffman in second, Will Fisher in third. I think Fisher was just a tiny bit low on fuel himself.
Yes, but now that he can sit in behind the draft, he can lift off a little early in the straights, maybe even go half throttle, save that fuel and go all out for this last 4 or 5 laps.
You know what he was just doing there down the front straight away?
Lifting halfway because we've got a telepathic connection.
He was coasting towards turn number 1 as well, shifting gears very late. You can hear that for the engine revs. Let's listen in then. On board, Will Fisher in towards turn number 3 and 4. We're going to show you then the front straight away from on board of Will Fisher. We'll show you exactly what we mean.
Yes, he's lifting out early there.
That is the lifting coast if I've ever seen one. Will Fisher in that number 1 machine is lifting. He is coasting, trying to get himself towards the end of this motor race as Neil Kemp, Elliott Smith. That battle will continue as well. And I think some of these guys were caught out by that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, so most of these drivers are road drivers. They know how to pit under green flag, but they don't know the oval mentality towards it. It's all about taking as little as you can and getting out into the busiest traffic without it being too busy. You want to be in a pack pretty much so you can draft together.
Oh, Neil Kemp there just got run over by the number 18 machine of Elliott Smith in towards turn number 1. Rear wing damage there for Neil Kemp. Is that going to hurt him in towards that first corner? Doesn't necessarily, but I tell you one thing. Neil Kemp is not a happy bunny right now, as he's going to go back down to the inside. But you can see there the rear wing damage for Neil Kemp as they work themselves in towards 3 and 4 once again. There you can see it. That is not what you want to have happen with less than 10 laps for this motor race to go.
Well, that's might actually help him, is it's pushed the wing up, increasing the wing angle. You never know, that might give more cornering force, some actual downforce in this Skip Barber racing car.
So you're saying that actually might be a benefit to him?
He'll be hoping just now, he'll be sitting there hoping that that's just increased his downforce levels.
Oh, he's going to loop it there into towards turn number 1. So it's not going to help him at all. He'll keep it going. But Neil Kemp, oh, his motor race is ruined now.
Yes, and that's not what he'll be wanting from this one. He's had a good solid race so far and he's just messed it up, and he's lost positions and he's not going to be as high up in the points as he was earlier.
Let's have a look there. Superstar mode replay there. You can see the tyre smoke for Neil Kemp. Philippe Leber will move himself to the outside of Kemp into turn number 1 and 2. But your battle for the race lead. Oh, it's on. It is on like Donkey Kong. As here is Fairhair. Behind him is Jan Hoffman. Behind him is Will Fisher. 4/10 of a second separating your top 3 drivers. We're going to come to 5 to go this time by.
Well, we had our caution bet. Who do you think's going to win this race?
Hoffman.
I'd put my money on Will Fisher. He showed that he can make the overtakes at the start, and I'm hoping he can pull him back out at the end.
But Fisher, we know, potentially has himself some fuel issues. Has he saved enough?
I believe in him.
Well, as we see there, Hoffman going to the race lead. 5 laps to go here. Do you want to be leading into the final lap, or do you want to be the guy in second place? Hoffman can't hold it down on the inside. This will allow now Fisher a chance to look down to the inside on the exit of turn number 2. Down towards turn number 3. Fisher up into P number 2 once again, and here he comes in towards 3 and 4.
Yes, and these drivers will be going hammer and tong at each other to see who can get to the front at the time where it matters, which is crossing the checkered flag. Although that doesn't matter to Will Fisher, as he's going down the inside here for turns 1 and 2.
Here comes Will Fisher then, looking back to the point as they work themselves through turn number 1 and turn number 2 once again. And while that Club West car versus Sablex Fairhair, they go side by side. Once again, the Central Eastern European machine on the exit of turn number 2, down the back straight away. There's 3.5 laps to go in this motor race, and Jan Hoffman still there in the mix as well. Fisher down to the inside. We have got ourselves now 3 laps to go.
Yes, and I think this is going to come back down to run to the finish line, because now we're seeing these over-under manoeuvres getting made left, right and centre.
Well then, Rob Adams is on pit road. Rob Adams cannot make it to the end of this motor race. There you can see he's had to pit late on in this event. He is going to fall. Well done, your field here today. He pulls out and away. Sablex Fairhair just lost the race lead for the moment to Will Fisher. Fisher, can he get clear in towards turn number 3 and 4? I tell you what, he was very close to being clear. Fisher didn't pinch actually down Sablex Fairhair as much as he could have done in towards 3 and 4, but Fisher should get a good run out of turn number 3 and 4, and they're going to be side by side in the battle for the race lead. At the line, it is going to be Fairhair losing out that 1/1000th of a second. Have you got that photo finish camera warmed up yet?
Well, I've got mine sitting right next to me here. I'll just get it out, get it pointed at the line for you.
Here we are then. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves a lap and a half worth of racing here in the Skip Barber 2K Oval League. Here comes Zablex Fairhair to the inside of Jan Hoffman. Any one of these 3 guys can still win this motor race. So let's hit turn number 3 and 4, and this time by, the white flag will be out. There'll be 1 more lap to go. Will Fisher leads this motor race, but can he hold on, or is he going to be the sitting duck in towards turn number 1 and 2? Well, Fisher has now got himself the car of Zablex Fairhair to the inside. Oh, Hoffman there, all forms of sideways, through turn number 1 and 2. This is now a 2-horse race as we have a look from the rear of Will Fisher. Can he hold on as they work themselves down in towards turn number 3 and 4? Will Fairhair try something down to the inside? He will go. Final corner. It's going to be a drag race between Will Fisher and Zablex Fairhair. Who will win it? At the exit turn number 4 now. Down towards the start-finish line as it stands. And it looks as though Zablex Fairhair. Oh my word. Contact there in the final corner. Zablex Fairhair will win out here at Gateway. But oh my word. What a controversial finish we've just had as the driver of Will Fisher at the end of this race pretty much was turned into, we're on board with Zablex Fairhair as he comes across the start-finish line. Another replay is going to come up for you now, but oh my word, what a crazy end to this motor race. Fantastic finish, but Will Fisher is not going to be happy with this one. Replay coming up now, and this is what happened into that final corner. I will say that Fairhair just clipped there the front wing of Will Fisher, and as a consequence, Fisher goes into the wall. Zablex Fairhair will win this motor race here tonight, Fraser.
That was all sorts of crazy there across that finish line. I'm just watching that back to see what actually happened.
It looks as though he came across just a little bit of Will Fisher.
But Will Fisher, to get as much run as possible, he would have been up the top there to use as much of the banking to get him down and as fast out as possible.
Yeah. What a race, though. What a race. We had cautions early, but the end of this race has just been fantastic to watch.
Yeah, after that first 25, 30 laps, that's turned into one of the best races I've watched. One of the best races that I've called here on RaceSpot.
Shall we get your final race results up?
Why not? Let's have a look to see who's won and who's lost in this one.
Well, you can see that Zablex Fairhair wins out by 2 tenths of a second over Jan Hoffman. Hoffman coming second. Third place will go to Philippe Lebert. Elliott Smith in fourth. Will Fisher can only get himself P5 after a potentially controversial issue at the end of this event. Neil Kemp in sixth. Then Marco Baronera. Luigi Caffini, Alexandre Danadone, Adam Blocker. They round out your top 10. Here is a look at the rest of your results. They are up on your screen right now. We did actually have ourselves 14 drivers finish this event, really. Just 2 retirees, Daniel Roper and Patrick Post. What a crazy end to this event. We got ourselves post-race interviews. They'll be coming up in just a couple of moments' time here on RaceSpotTV and streaming live, as always, on iRacing Live.
I'm Eric Hudek. I'm an engineer at iRacing. I put together vehicle models. Started earlier in the year with a partnership with Mazda and Long Road Racing Engineering, where they supplied us with access to the car data, access to their drivers to allow us to put together really high-level vehicle model, and it's turned out really well so far in the development stages.
These new MX-5s are incredible. Between the BF Goodrich tire and then all the suspension engineering that Long Road Racing and that Mazda has done, I've been very fortunate to be one of the lead development drivers for the new Global MX-5 Cup car. We've done a lot of R&D on not only suspension, but things that will not only improve the safety of the vehicle for racing, but also the longevity of it in a racing environment. A couple fun aspects have been for us, not only on the suspension development side, but the virtual world side with iRacing, actually mirroring some of the same, for instance, damper settings or brake pad changes that we've made for different compounds and such, and then we'll actually mirror that in iRacing. It's incredible to me how similar both when we're driving the car on the test day and then we're on the sim, that we're actually able to make changes in iRacing to the damper valving, and it correlates exactly to our findings on the racetrack.
It was quite interesting. It was sort of the first time in iRacing where we developed a car in the sim along with the manufacturer and a race team Generally speaking, a team or a manufacturer will send us a data dump of information covering everything from tires to aero if the car is set up that way, all the mechanical bits. The big difference is those cars are generally already in production or already racing, and this go around it was essentially from scratch. When Long Road Racing received their cars, we started getting our first bits of data, and as they got more data, we got more data, and we were able to go back and forth in the sim and compare with how the car performs on the racetrack.
What a crazy evening worth of racing it has been here on RaceSpotTV, a part of RaceSpot Primetime, streaming live on iRacing Live, where, coming into the final lap, we thought that Will Fisher was going to win this motor race. It turned out it wasn't going to be the case, because we had ourselves a dramatic, potentially controversial end to this motor race, where Zablik Verheer wins out over Jan Hoffman. Replay Burr coming home in third. Will Fisher ends up only in P number 5. We're going to start by talking to Will Fisher first in our post-race interviews, because, well, that's the important thing. That's the thing we need to talk about. As, well, Will, that's not the ending to the motor race that you really wanted to have had happen there.
No, I think frustration and being upset would be an understatement there. I'm not happy, to say the least.
Talk us through it from your perspective. What happened in those last couple of laps?
Well, yeah. So I mean, I had a thought was a great pit stop. The fuel was working out. I was gonna catch a P1 anyway. He wasn't gonna make it on fuel, even if he hadn't disconnected. So there was a point where I thought the race was in bag. I ended up being about a lap short on fuel, so I had to save, and I let those guys catch up to me. I fell in line, and I got my fuel back, and I was just gonna make a run at the end there. I made my move, and I thought I had it there, and my plan was to give Sabalix the inside coming out of 4, and I did that. I got kind of a crummy run through 4, came down to try to side draft him, so I was running in the middle. We were going straight, and he decided he didn't want to let me side draft him, so he put me in the wall, and that's the end of that.
Well, the race until then had been crazy. Of course, we had so many cautions at the start of this race, and then went green. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on at the beginning. I mean, it's a track that not a lot of people are familiar with. Turn 1 and 2 really can upset the car. So I'm not too surprised there was a lot of cautions early on, just kind of what people figured it out. But after that, the last, 40, 50 laps were pretty brilliant racing. I just wish there were a few more cars, but the racing was really good. It's just a shame that, it didn't shake out and be clean to the end. I think I'm still leading in the championship, but a win in 2 P2s would really look nice on the stat sheet.
I know exactly what you mean. Of course, next round of the championship, we head ourselves to the Milwaukee Mile, which I will tell you, I spent once in a weekend 600 laps trying to figure out that track, and I could never get it. That track is hard. Do you think you've got a car to win?
Well, yeah, I mean, the car, we use the same setup pretty much every week. I think that plays an advantage to the guys who do more ovaling rather than the road course, the guys who can quicker find the oval line. So, yeah, I mean, guys like Clampett, even Leber and myself and those guys are maybe going to have an advantage at a more tough track. Less draft too. It's probably going to be more similar to USA than Gateway.
Well, Will Fisher coming home down in P number 5 here today. We haven't, unfortunately, got the opportunity yet to talk to your race winner, so we're going to go through in some form of logical order. We've got ourselves Fraser, he stood by, with Philippe Leber, who comes home with a podium out of nowhere.
Well, Philippe, that was a good recovery drive that you had there from a dodgy pit stop. Would you like to tell us the reason why you had to come in again?
Well, it would have been an easy win if I didn't have the 15-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, because I was only 6 seconds behind first place, so it would have been easy, but yeah, of course I messed up again as usual.
Well, we're hoping that one of these weeks you'll finally get yourself onto that top spot of the podium. But as you said, that would have been an easy race. But that first 20 laps, that was madness. And I thought that you had made the right call with taking fuel in that last caution. Did that help you at all in that long last green flag run?
Yeah, it was perfect strategy if I wouldn't have messed up. But I was well, there were 2 cautions in a row, and I was last anyway, so I decided to pit again at the very end. So I thought that could make the difference at the end, which it would have. But yeah, you know what happened.
Well, yep, that's the ideas that we were having up in the booth as well. And I think Will is over there with the Marco Barber.
Indeed so, and Marco here today came home in the number 54 machine down in P number 7. Now Marco, it's been a crazy race. We've seen you up at the front of the field, P number 7. Is that what you wanted here today, or is that just a little bit too little?
Well, I'm not a big fan of the track. I race a lot of IndyCars, so I've been here more than once, and I have never done a good racing, good finishing positions, and I was always in the wall or crashing because there's little margin of error here. So racing with the skippies tonight with all these car 3 wide, 4 wide, everybody very, very respectful of each other, except the first 10 laps, but we were settling in by then. So I mean, I am a bit upset because once or twice in the end we could have had a caution, and I was one of the few guys on the lead lap because I pitted very, very late. I had my last pit with, I think, 20 laps to go, so a caution there would have really helped me to have a better position in the end. But hey, I mean, first race I was P11 in USA, and now I'm again in the lead lap, which is my objective now that I'm a beginner with the skippies on the oval. So I'm pretty happy, and shout out to my other 2 teammates who finished right behind me, and I had to avoid both of them twice while they were spinning in front of me during the course of the race. So it would have been very, very embarrassing to take out each other on live YouTube, on live TV. So I'm very happy at the end.
Talk us through the differences between running this racetrack and an IndyCar compared to a Skippy.
Well, with the IndyCar, you have there's a huge bump coming out of turn 2, and here you barely notice it. And I've noticed that here you have to the outside line is way better than in the IndyCars. The draft is amazing here in the skippies. That's a pro of the skippy. So a tough track with the IndyCar, a tough track here, but the racing is way better with the Skip Barber race car.
Now, of course, you've, as an IndyCar driver, been to the Milwaukee Wild many times before. It's a tough track in an IndyCar. You're expecting it to be the same in a Skippy in a month's time?
I absolutely hate the track with the IndyCar. It's very difficult. Like here you have little margin for error. It is very easy to get caught in crashes. Cars tend to pass you on the inside and then wash up and put you into the wall. So and it's very flat. It's very, very flat. So I think it's going to be a very interesting race, and I expect not a lot of draft there as we had here, but I expect a lot of cautions there. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Marco coming home in P number 7 here today. Going to hand it back over to Fraser, who stood by with another Italian driver. That is Alexander Dalladone in the number 53 machine.
Well, once again, it's another one of the Italians who's up at the front of your field. Alessandro, you were everywhere in this race. would you like to explain where you managed to lose 30 seconds over Feher?
Well, considering that was the first race in Gateway, I just bought today for this race the track, so it was completely new for me. And as the Skippy, I never raced with Skippy, and so it was a different combo for as usual. And I had no experience, very no practice, and I thought I would have never made the race. But in the end, I was really fast. I thought to be able to fight in the end for the win, but I don't know, maybe some people don't use their heads, or there's too much of aggressivity during the race, people trying to pass. I don't know what happened during the green flag round where I was spun out by, I don't know, someone. It was I don't know, maybe lap car trying to get the lap back, or so I'm really frustrated because I thought to win, to try to get a podium, but in the end I dropped to 9th place. I got also 15-second holding penalty because I entered not from the dogleg but from turn 4. So yeah, I am really disappointed with drivers and the way of racing, even if the race was really fun till the last accident I had.
Well, now that you know now for Milwaukee Mile, that you'll need to learn how to go into pit road, and that you managed to take some positives out of this race. And we'll be hoping to see you next time at Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, I don't know if I get to racing again here because to be honest, I don't like much Skippy, and that's a big reason why I was a bit not how can say secure to race today. So it's my wild card. There's Marco, Luigi, my team's like we will try to figure out what to do, and maybe I'll be back for Indy.
Yes, Indy should be a good race. Many Indy cars around Indianapolis. Hopefully you can see some 6 wide make a new record.
Yeah, 6, 7
no,
wide.
no, see, I've seen 7 already. I'm sorry, I've done 7 already. Star Mazda.
Oh, Star Mazdas don't count.
What? These are smaller than a Star Mazda.
That makes them more fun.
Yeah. Alexander Drodoni there coming home in P number 9 here today. Adam Blocker, of course, coming home in 10th place after starting P number 5 here today. And Adam, your race, pit stops, green flag pit stops, and timing seem to be your issue here today.
Yeah, the first stint, I was running up near the front, right behind the leaders. I had good pace, but then I got involved in some of the incidents. I think it was like the second and third cautions where they spun ahead of me and I couldn't quite avoid it and just got a piece of it. So that the first one gave me minor front wing damage, wasn't a big deal, but the second one gave me a little bit of right front suspension damage as well. So I managed to hold pace at the beginning of the long run with that damage. And then I grazed the wall one time coming out of 4, and my car was already like on the edge of getting the meatball, and I guess that gave me the meatball. So then I was forced to pit when I did, because I was losing time, and also I would have got disqualified. So and then I pushed the entry, obviously, but I braked where I normally do, but the car was handling okay on track, but obviously on the flat pit lane that's a different story, so I spun it, and then I had trouble getting reverse gear, so that I lost a good 15 seconds doing that. But then because I was forced to pit when I did, I filled all the way up, but I was still like 3 laps short, so I had to pit with 2 laps to go because I managed to save 1 lap, but I couldn't save enough because I was also trying to catch the pack ahead with Philippe. So
well, next race out will be, of course, at the fantastic, beautiful Milwaukee Mile with its 9 3/4 degrees of banking. It's exactly 1 mile in length. That turn 1 and 2 curb. Do you think that's going to be a key part of the racetrack, or do you think people are just going to ignore it?
To be honest, I've never driven the Milwaukee Mile, nor have I bought it yet, so I'll have to do that before we race there. I've watched a lot of videos on it, so I know that turns, and I've watched the real-life IndyCar races there, so I know that turns 1 and 2 is very tricky, but on an oval, every corner is important to the lap because there's only, well, 2 of them, so every corner is a make or break in terms of time.
There's 4 turns in an oval.
It depends, because if you say it's a corner below a mile, people will call it 2 corners. iRacing called it 2 corners if it's less than a mile, for the record. So on a mile exactly, it's close.
This is a road series. This is the road car, so we're calling it like we're doing the tracks as we would on a road course. So I guess it's 2 corners.
They should. Oh, I'm not even going to get into this actually.
You know what? I think you've got yourself an interesting discussion. We'll talk about that one another time. You are stood though by Fraser with the driver of Jan Hoffman. He was my pick towards the end of the race. However, he didn't quite make it at the end. He ends up coming home in P2.
Yes, Jan. That end of that race, you were very unlucky there. You were 3rd into turn 1 in the last lap. What all went wrong for you there?
Yeah, first of all, it was a very good race there. And yeah, in the last lap, I braked too much there and lost the car a bit and went sideways. But at the end, I think it wasn't that bad because I nearly run into Fischer at the end there. And yeah, it's a shame that it ended this way. But yeah, I already lost it in turn 1, 2 about 3 times that race. And yeah, I couldn't make it stick there, so I just lost it. But P2 is still a good finish for me. Didn't expect that I finish on the podium today.
Yes, and you're one of the, I say a few, but there's most of their top 5, top 6 got decent green flag pit stops, but was that something that you had practiced in practice or before this event even started?
I'm used to oval racing, so no, I didn't really practice pit stops, but here I practice about 5 times pit entrance because I noticed at my first try I went way too fast in there and nearly spun out, and then I practiced it again, and the last part of the pit line entrance is a curve, so it's really tricky because your brake bias is set up to get loose back. So when you go in there and slams the brake and you're still turning in, then same happens like to some other guy, I don't know actually who it was, who spun out there.
Oh yes.
Pit stops aren't that new for me.
Yes, and that was, I think, Adam Walker who walked it up on pit road in the entrance and went parallel parking, so to speak. But yeah, if you were any closer on that last lap, you might have been involved, and that could have put you further down, so maybe every cloud does have a silver lining for you. Would that be the correct way to put that one for you, Jan?
Sorry? What's the question?
No, I was just saying that at the end of the race, your walk up into turn 1 and 2, it could, if you didn't have that, it could have cost you your whole car in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, it could cost it, but the other side, maybe Fischer and Ia would position their car a different way when I was still in there. So we don't know. But P2 is still good enough for me.
That's some solid points for you there.
Yeah, and
on you go.
Point difference between 1 and 2 isn't that much. It's only 1 point. 1 point is still 1 point, but I'm now fourth the championship, so it's a good position for me. Yeah. Let's see how the next race will go.
Thank you very much there to Jan Hoffman. Philippe, say the words, hit my music.
Sorry?
Say the words, hit my music.
What do you mean?
Just say the words, hit my music.
Hit my music.
So, tomorrow, we've got ourselves the start of another series of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, which of course will alternate in weeks with the 2K Formula Renault Cup. First question for you here, Philippe, is, do you feel a bit angry at iRacing who've stolen the music that we made the home of Sunday nights over the past few years?
You mean for the Formula Renault?
No, they've stolen this music and they've used it in World Championship Series highlight videos.
The music is too loud, I can hardly hear you.
How about now?
That's better.
There we are. So yeah, iRacing have actually taken this music and they use it now for the World Championship videos. Do you feel a bit upset by that?
Not really, it was your music, so it wasn't ours.
It's always been yours. But talk us through then a new series of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. And of course, we got ourselves a brand new series. This is the Formula Renault 2K World Cup.
Yeah, well, the Skip Barber is it's what we're used to, but except that it's every 2 weeks and it will run for 18 weeks, and we'll have a few double header races where the grid will be reversed. Well, at least the top 20 of the grid will be reversed for the second race right after the first one, so that's going to be exciting. And yeah, Formula Renault, that's well, that's going to be insane because we have over 160 drivers who signed up, and so we're going to have to split the races. It's going to be hectic. Well, I don't know, it's going to be insane. That's the only word I can find that will describe it.
Of course, they're two similar but different series. We talked earlier to a driver or two, and they said that, you know, the Skippy 2K World Cup will have closer racing because of the draft. But the Formula Renault is the flavour of the week right now in our racing. That series will be fantastic. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, for myself or as the organizer?
Yourself.
Well, I'm not up to speed in the Formula Renault. I'm not used to driving a downforce car, so I will be lucky to finish in the top 20. So it's going to be a year for learning for me. So I'm more looking forward to the Skippy to try to win the championship again.
But we've got two fantastic series, ladies and gentlemen, coming your way this coming season here on RaceSpotTV. It's a part of RaceSpotTV Primetime, streaming live on iRacing Live. We've got ourselves on alternate Sundays, the Skip Barber 2K World Cup that you know and love. And then in the middle, you have yourselves on alternate weeks, the Formula Renault 2K World Cup, which I guarantee will be something you have to watch. Sunday nights are your home of open wheel racing here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. We're glad to bring you another season of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, as well as welcoming in the Formula Renault 2K World Cup as well. It all kicks off tomorrow with Skippy action at Lime Rock Park. That'll be its standard time of 9 PM GMT, so check that one out. In the meanwhile, from myself, Will Vincent, and from Fraser Williamson, this has been a RaceSpotTV presentation. Streaming live on iRacing Live, a part of RaceSpotTV Primetime of the Skip Barber 2K Oval League. It started off 4 cautions in a row. Then we went green to the end, as we had ourselves a controversial finish. But Sublux Bear wins out here at Gateway. We'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye.